Hi, my name is Ramon, and I'll be your mediator today. Before we get into any further introductions, I'd just like to thank you guys for being here. To me, it shows a great deal of effort that you guys chose mediation to solve your problems, and hopefully today we'll be able to do just that. So thank you again. Okay, so what was your name? Okay, nice to meet you. Okay, nice to meet you. All right. Let me just confirm a few things with you guys. This is a voluntary process, meaning that you guys don't have to be here. This is also true for myself. You guys could have had private counsel. You guys didn't feel like if you guys didn't feel like talking to each other, but I noticed that's not the case, which I suppose is a good thing. This is gonna take roughly 3 hours, so if you feel like you can't be here for the next 3 hours, please let me know and try to reschedule. So I'm assuming that everyone at the table has sway over the final solution and has power to make decisions. If you feel like that someone's missing who could do just that or was necessary for an amicable solution between all you two, please let me know and we can also try to schedule for that. If not, let me move on to my next point, which is a few things about this process and myself. Like I said, I'm gonna be your mediator. Um, I'm not here today to judge you or to pick a side or to say who won or who lost. Basically, my role today is just to facilitate communication between you two so as to get to an amicable solution. And I know that's the second time I've used that word amiable, but basically what I mean by that is something acceptable to both of you guys. So whatever solution we get to today, it'll be something you both agree to. That being said, anything you guys say here today is going to be confidential. You see me write down a few things just from my memory, 'cause I forget sometimes. So don't worry about that. There's an exception to that though. If let's say I'm forced to, divulge what we talked about here by court, for whatever reason, then I have to do that. Usually happens because crime or whatever, but I don't think anything like that's gonna happen today. At least I hope so. Okay. So yeah. Oh, there's this thing called caucus, and that means meeting. So if at any moment you feel like you need to say something to me in private, just tell me. Be like, oh, Ramon, I would like to hold a caucus with you, and then we'll go ahead and do that. If of course, we're in the middle of something, we're talking, please wait until whoever's done talking to ask me to do that. Um, which I guess brings me to my next point, which are ground rules. So I usually have some pretty simple and basic ones like, no interrupting, no yelling, basically treat each other with respect. Follow the golden rule. Don't do anything, to someone here that you wouldn't want them to do to you. Um, okay. If you guys have any suggestions for rules, like any personal quirks, like if you want me to slow down my talking, I can go ahead and do that. Anything I can accommodate this process, you know, shouldn't be a problem. Okay, like I said, it's going to be 3 hours. I know that's a long time, but don't worry, there's going to be plenty of breaks. We're going to have bathroom breaks and cell phone breaks. And I guess, forgot to mention, please don't use your cell phone while we're, discussing, what's it called, you know, um, whatever we're discussing. It's kind of disrespectful, people are texting. If you do get a text and you feel like it's an emergency, you can go ahead and deal with that. So I'm not against you checking, your phone every now and then, but please don't, use it any more than that. Okay, we're basically going to start with initial statements. That's when you guys, will talk a little about, why you're here and what you'd like to get out of this. And after that, we're going to delve right into, trying to get a solution, by brainstorming and whatever else. So yeah, if you guys don't have anything for me, like to sign, or do you have any other questions, we can go ahead and do that. All right. So any questions? No? Okay. We'll go ahead and start.
What you just saw was an example of the I or introduction stage of ITUNA. Each introduction that the mediator makes will not always be the same, however, they always have similar components. Here, for example, the mediator, who should always be a neutral party, whose sole purpose is to facilitate a resolution that benefits the parties involved, begins by welcoming parties to the mediation session and then proceeds to explain what this process will look like.
In the opening statement for the introduction, you want to make sure that you highlight time restraints, which is about 3 hours. The fact that they could have attorneys present, and most importantly, that the whole process is voluntary. Um, Also, you want to make sure that the mediator explains that the role is to be neutral throughout the whole process, and also you want to make sure that you welcome and thank the parties for choosing mediation.
Right. And as our first mediator has already repeated and has reiterated, was to make sure that you let your parties know the possible length of the mediation session, which can range from 3 hours to any other time. So you want to make sure that both parties have that time blocked. Um, and to also make sure that you let your parties know that there will be breaks for restroom usage as well as water breaks. And you also want to let them know what a caucus is as well as what that will be used for.
Additionally, make sure that that you explain the ground rules and expectations, as well. Ask them if there are any rules that they want to add to the list throughout the whole process, so they have something to follow. Um, Also, last but not least, make sure to have both parties sign any forms if necessary, such as participation forms. Um, and now take a look at our second monologue to see what similarities and differences you see with our first one.
Good morning. Please come in and have a seat. Welcome to your mediation. My name is Karina Cervantes, and I will be your mediator for today. You can go ahead and call me Karina. In a few minutes, I will ask you what brings you in today, but before doing so, I would like each of you to introduce yourself and let me know how you would like to be addressed. Okay, great. I would like to begin by discussing how mediation works and some of the ground rules that are expected of you to comply with. Mediation is a negotiation with the assistance of a neutral facilitator. The goal of the mediation is to help you achieve a mutual understanding and, if possible, arrive at a mutually acceptable resolution. My role as your mediator is to serve as a neutral facilitator. My job is not to take sides or give my own opinions. As a mediator, I will not act like a judge by rendering a decision or making an agreement for you. Rather, my job is to help you understand the situation better and help you decide how you would like to handle the situation. In order to ensure that each of you are heard during the mediation, you must agree to a set of ground rules as follows. Listen carefully and respectfully to one another. Do not interrupt while parties are speaking, and respect all parties and the mediation process. It is extremely important that you all follow these rules in order for us to use our time here effectively. Do any of you have any suggestions of possible ground rules which I did not cover? Okay, great. If you haven't already done so, please turn your cell phone off or put it on silent to avoid any distractions. And if any of you need to take a restroom or a water break, you can do so. The restroom is outside to the right, and the water fountain is right next to it. In order for this mediation to be successful, it is extremely important that you perceive me as a neutral facilitator. I have never met any of you prior to today, and I don't recall working with either of you. If any of you recognize me, please say so right now. Okay, great. If I have a lot of experience working as a mediator, and I can confidently attest that it works. I would like to commend all of you for your willingness to participate and take time out of your schedule to come in today. I strongly believe that if you can all take a step back and really listen to one another, we can have positive results from this mediation today. I also want to mention that I'm going to be taking notes during the mediation. I also brought pen and paper for each of you to utilize so that if any of you disagrees with what the other party is saying or comes up with an idea while the other party is speaking, go ahead and write it down, and when it is your turn to speak, you can go ahead and discuss it. So at the end of the mediation, I will destroy all of my notes This mediation is strictly private and confidential. I will not share any of what I learned today with the court unless you both want me to do so. And there are a few exceptions. A judge could make me testify about a criminal act that happened today about professional misconduct or ethical violations of the professionals involved. This mediation is a voluntary process. If at any point you feel as though this mediation is not fulfilling your needs, go ahead and tell me and we can end the mediation. However, I strongly encourage you to use this time effectively to see how far we can go on resolving or at the very least clarifying the issues at hand. If at any point you wish to speak to me privately, or if I wish to speak to you privately, a caucus will be called. If I meet with one party, at the conclusion of that caucus, I will meet with the other party. The purpose of the private meeting is to discuss with you any information you don't feel comfortable sharing in front of the other party. I will ask for permission to share any information discussed in the caucus with the other party. If you tell me that you would rather I not share that information with the other party, I will respect that. We will start the mediation off by one of you discussing what brings you here today. Traditionally, the individual who files the complaint is the one who begins. In this case, we will do the same. Do any of you have a problem with that? Okay, great. Again, as your mediator, I am here to facilitate your communication and to help you brainstorm any possible solutions. If you reach an agreement, I will help you write the agreement and it will be filed with the court, and that will mark the end of our mediation, and after that you will be free to go. Do any of you have anywhere to be at a certain time? Okay, good. Do we have all the decision makers present today? Okay, now I am going to ask both of you to sign an agreement to participate form, which states what I mentioned earlier, which is that this meeting is private and confidential. Okay, great. I want to thank you for listening and would like to ask if there are any questions about what I discussed before we begin today. Okay, great.